Hello everyone, this is the final video, the third and final video in the exercises for helping to regulate the nervous system little mini video series that I put together. For context, please refer to video 1 for why we'd be doing these things, how they relate to the Safe and Sound protocol, but bearing in mind this doesn't have to just be used with respect to the Safe and Sound protocol. It could be helpful for nervous system regulation for other reasons as well. So there's actually 6 exercises I'm going to go over in this one. So the first one is referred to as gentle shaking. So this one basically would typically be done standing, but could be done sitting if needed. And basically just start to gently shake your body. Interestingly enough, there's some really fascinating research looking at the benefits of tremoring, like of shaking. It's a way of kind of diffusing stressful energy, and it can just be a good way to kind of diffuse stressful energy, but also bring more body awareness as well, which is sometimes helpful. So essentially just standing or sitting, and then just try to demonstrate it as best I can, but just kind of a little bit of shaking, head shaking, torso shaking, maybe, sorry, can't really see here, but maybe, limb shaking just a little bit. So just inducing some shaking in your body and doing that for a few minutes or until the nervous system is feeling regulated. The next one is self-touch. So this is really nice one. It's basically just giving yourself a hug, just giving yourself a hug. That's it. Could potentially modify it by just kind of like pressing over your heart, and that's it. So really nice, simple one. So that's the self-touch one. The next one is rhythmic movement. So maybe a little bit different than the shaking. The shaking is a little more haphazard and random, I suppose. The rhythmic movement would be some type of, rocking or repetitive motion. So it could be rocking in a rocking chair. It could be swaying in a hammock. Could just be, standing or sitting and just kind of, methodically kind of swaying back and forth. Could be potentially using a ball and just kind of rolling it back and forth on a table. Could be bouncing a ball up and down. Could be like tapping your knee. I can't see my knee right now, but I am tapping my knee right now, or like bouncing my knee, tapping my foot right now. So just some type of rhythmic movement to help kind of focus and center the nervous system. The next one is joint circles. So this one, as the name suggests, basically involves just putting some of the joints of the body through a circular motion. So for the head, kind of the easy and bearing in mind if there's any pain or dysfunction in a given joint or area of the body, then these would be things that you should talk to your healthcare provider before actually specifically engaging in these exercises. Just don't want to induce any pain. They're fairly gentle, but just using your best judgment. And I'm not giving any advice directly here through this video, of course, but joint circles for the neck. I learned this little tidbit years ago, and it was very, very helpful for me to figure out, like, how do I move my head in a circle? Sometimes you can get a little discombobulated while doing it. So the easiest way to figure that out is just drawing a circle with the tip of your chin. So as you're basically moving your head through a circle, just basically drawing a circle with the tip of your chin while you're doing that is the easiest way to keep organized or making circles basically with your neck. Moving the neck through circular motion, doing joint circles with the wrists. So just palm up or palm down, but basically just kind of moving the wrist through a circular motion, different directions, typically 5 repetitions in each direction with each joint. So both wrists. Could do the same thing with ankles. I won't flop my foot up there in front of the camera here, but I can just picture moving your ankles in circles as well. Could potentially do it with your hips as well. So like either standing and kind of doing like a hula hoop type motion, like circles, or actually, lifting up each individual leg and making circles with hip joints. But the joint circles is another exercise. The next one is joint compressions with deep pressure. So this is one where again, same caveat from before. If there's problems with any of these joints or whatnot, any pain issues or whatnot, it might not be the best exercise to work with. So use your best judgment. Get some advice from a healthcare provider before engaging in these things if needed. But basically with joint pressure, we have a lot of nerve endings in our joints. We get a lot of feedback to our brains through our vestibular system, our proprioceptive system. And so joint pressure can be really centering, grounding, really tonifying or calming for the nervous system. It's kind of the rationale behind, like, say, using a weighted blanket, or like there's some, individuals out there, most of my experiences with kids on the autism spectrum or some kids with other types of neurodivergencies, but sometimes they just like their parents or caregivers to just kind of like just give them like really tight hugs, or even like kind of like half sort of lie on them to like have nice pressure. Can be really calming and centering for the nervous system. But doing individual joint compressions can be helpful as well. So say for the neck, the way to compress the neck joints would be generally just to basically gently press down on the top of the head and just kind of press down and sort of see how that feels. For the ankle joint, just maybe I will flop my foot. Well, I don't know if I can flop my foot up here very effectively, but anyways, just kind of above and below the ankle joint, sort of like just pressing like the joint together, essentially. Say on the wrist, where can only use one hand on one wrist at a time, but basically kind of pressing it into my torso here, and then just kind of like pressing down against on the joints to put pressure on the joint. Say sitting in a chair right now, maybe I'll move back a little bit here. Anyways, might be able to kind of see here. So there's my hip joint, so I can kind of just press down on my hip joint, could potentially press down on my elbow joint, press down on my knee joint. So just basically holding these joint compressions for maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And again, if that's having a nervous system regulating effect, then that could be a useful tool. And then the very last one, which is one of my favorite ones, is the ear massage. And so with it's called ear massage on the handout that I'm referencing here, but it's sort of an ear treatment, if you will. And so with this one, there's a couple of different elements to it. So there's all these acupuncture points or acupressure points on the ear. So just even kind of moving along the ear and just kind of doing like little massages like that can be quite nice. So kind of on the outer aspects of the ear, getting a finger and kind of going into the inner parts of the ear as well, kind of getting in all those little nooks and crannies in there. There's acupuncture points everywhere. It's been a while since I looked at my auricular acupuncture notes, but I feel like there's like at least 30 points per ear. There's a lot of points in there. But then what I find to be particularly quite nice, this would be a good one for me if I was doing the Safe and Sound protocol, is basically just pulling on the ear in different directions. So doing it gently, but basically just kind of grasping the ear and grasping the top of the ear and kind of just gently like kind of tractioning upwards, and then maybe grasping a different part of the ear and kind of tractioning back. Maybe getting sort of a finger on the inner aspect of the ear and then kind of pulling backwards like this, and then grasping the earlobe and pulling down. So now you've seen my ears, it's the most ear-centered video I've ever made. So basically just pulling it in different directions as long as it's comfortable, and that can have a really nice regulating effect as well. Again, working on those acupressure points, and there's some links between the vagus nerve and the ears as well. So that concludes the nervous system regulating exercises. I hope that this video and the other videos were of use, and I hope that they're really helpful for nervous system regulation for you.